Global Farmer Network is all about amplifying farmers' voices and stories. Today's going to be no different. I'm Delaney Howell, joined today by AD Alvarez of the Camotes Islands in the province of Cebu. They are in the Philippines. AD, thank you so much for joining today. Very excited to talk to you. And, a lot of our listeners or viewers that watch these don't realize, but we're recording from lots of different time zones. So it's currently, as we record this, nighttime for me and morning time for you. So good morning to you and thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me.
So tell us about your farming background. How did you get into farming? Did you grow up on a farm?
Well, most Filipinos would have some experience growing up in the farm, but not many are farmers. And I got into farming only when we moved here in the island in 2010. But here in Camotes, I started full-time farmer from a background of microfinance executive, social work. And also, my background in college is I am trained from Bible college, so I'm a trained minister.
You have a very unique background. That's a lot of different things that I would never have guessed that mesh all together.
That's it's a colorful experience, but you will know later why uh, those things are still lined up in what we're doing now. We're not just simply farming for the sake of making profit out of it, but also to help other people around us.
Okay, so let's start to piece a little bit more of that background together. So you went to college for Bible studies, and then you have a finance background as well. How did you end up eventually in farming and agriculture?
Well, my wife's family owns properties in Camotes Island, and my microfinance work was very near in this province. So we would be looking at after the land time to time. We would visit the island. We would check on the property, and many times in our trips here, we would notice this poverty around and the things that we can do in the farming and in agriculture. And so we in 2007 we were trying to see what we can do to help in poverty alleviation because that's what microfinance was about in the island. And if we are going to do another microfinance, it doesn't it would be a burden to the people to get more loans without necessarily having something productive. So we looked at agriculture as a way, as a tool to help people get out of poverty. So that's why we started developing our own land. We started looking at the production sizes and the volume and the efficiency, and that's where we noticed that a lot of practices of farmers are not still on the old ways, and it's not efficient. Here, they used to plant corn grits or corn flint, the white variety for food consumption, and they would only harvest about 600 kilograms per hectare. I said that's not efficient. So we started introducing hybrid varieties, especially the GMO varieties, and we were surprised that we were yielding 8,000 kilograms per hectare. So uh, that's 2010. So over the years, we tried to learn the farming cycle, and most of it I learned by doing. And now in 2016, we got to be recognized as the most outstanding corn farmer of the province because of our yield and our practices. That's kind of how I got into farming.
And what's common in the Philippines? Because I think a lot of different countries have different practices as far as do they own the ground? Do they rent the ground? Do they barter for the ground with neighbors? What does that makeup look like in the Philippines?
Well, we were used to be a colony of Spain, and the practices were like there were the landowners and there would be land tenants. And over the course of time, land were divided in smaller sizes, and so most of the farmers here are small landholding farmers, and many are land tenants. So there will be a landowner, and these are not big sizes compared to Iowa because after visiting Iowa. Our lands here are small. Like my family's farm would be 8 hectares, and a lot of people consider 8 hectares as a huge land here because an average farmer would have half a hectare of land holding for them to produce something
So yes, you have a big farm for what
for
it's
the Philippines.
considered, yeah, compared to other Filipino farmers. So AD, do you guys currently own your own ground or do you rent ground from other people in your area?
We are currently concentrating on our 8 hectare, but there was a time that when we are increasing our production area, we started renting because for 5 years ago, we were able to expand our corn production to around 40 hectares. And the reason for doing that is because we really wanted to show an impact to the community that it can be an alternative source of income, and it could be a way to really get somebody out of poverty if they would just do the production. So it's a combination. We would rent, and it depends on the production that we needed to do. Right now, we are concentrating on our farm, especially during the pandemic when inputs were very high. Now we have a 1 hectare eggplant production, so it's all in the farm.
So you're farming eggplant and corn. Are there any other crops or commodities that you're growing?
We tried squash for a time. It really depends on what is marketable, what would sell, because we're trying to find a production type for that we could share to the farmers around, and they could copy. So we would teach them, and they could use it as their economic activity to sustain their families.
As AD was hinting there, he certainly does a lot to help other farmers learn new technologies and new strategies. And we're going to talk more about those tomorrow and how he impacts policymakers to understand the importance of what farmers do.